Well, it's a new day. I knew I was going to start off with a well. I've got 2 coats of paint on it. Let me get this out of the way. I got this, it's got 2 coats of Varathane on it, or the, not Varathane, but the System 3 Marine Spar Varnish. And I've got 2 coats of paint on. You can see a little bit of, I don't know, a little discoloration up in here and here. So I think a 3rd coat is going to take care of it. And then I brought in my rudder here. Let's get over here to see how it was going to fit. It was kind of short with the last one, but with setting in here, let me get around the other side. Hold on. When I'm setting in the hull, I'll be up and setting about in here. And so this will be within arm's length. The only problem is if I, it's the winds are died down a little bit and I'm setting up on the edge over here in the center, then I need to add an extension. And I was thinking about how I was going to do that this morning when I was at the hardware store, and I decided I think I'll be able to put a wood insert in here and then make up a short handle with some sort of swivelly thing that'll screw into that, and then I can fold it back over and put a little thing in there, a little catch. Hopefully I can find a plastic one that'll hold that arm in place so I can sail back here. I'll probably put the attachment here so it's not in the way when I'm actually using the tiller. While I'm working on the handle, I may fix some holes in here. When I put on the grudge or the pintles here, I had them on the wrong side. Duh! Oh well, let me get the painting. Oh yes, my sail should be here in the next day or 2. My new little Neil Pride 50 square foot I have had Bob Pattison design for me, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be tan bark, and a darker tan bark. And so I'll show you that when I get it, and then we'll start on working up a mast. I was looking at some stuff last night online about carbon fiber masts and fiberglass and wrapping and stuff, and so I've already did, like I said, that one test on this, but I'm going to do some more research, and it'd probably be simpler for me just go down and buy a 12-foot aluminum mast by the time I get down horsing around. But then what's the fun of that? Well, I have the 3rd coat of paint on. I've taken off some of the masking tape around that I had on the hull, and I've got the mast partner back in and bolted in, well, just temporary bolted in place, and trying to decide what kind of mast. I've got the one for the 8-foot pram that I'm, with the 36-foot sail, I'm still running as a sprit sail with the sprit pole and kind of a funky little jaw on the boom, and I'd like to update that one of these days too, but it's not imperative right now. But the other 2 masts, or well, the 10-foot that I had originally for the 64-foot pram, I'd had the gooseneck ran on a track, and I had about, what is that, about 10 inches, maybe 12 inches of track, but I never really adjusted because with that sail I always take, once I set the height, it's pretty much always standard, then I take any slack in the luff with the throat halyard on the sprit sail, and so that pulls it up. So I don't really need to have that kind of adjustability here, because the sail doesn't work that way. And then especially with a reef, you would tie it down in that fixed point, and then the sail would come, top of the sail would come down, on the throat would drop for the reef point. So you don't really need to adjust it there either. So I'm looking at a couple of different options that Chuck has down at Duckworks. One is a C that fits around this way, and the other one is kind of like a surface mount. It's got a little bit of an arc to it, and sets on there. So I'm asking him, I got an email into him right now, waiting for his opinion as to the one here, or the C one, is mainly made for a 2.5-inch mast, but he said it'll go either a 1/2 inch up or a 1/2 inch down, so it'll go to either a 3-inch or a 2-inch mast. But I don't know how much beating around you have to do with that, so I may just get another section of sail track and get another of the, I think it was a 327 goosenecks with a pin. I always use a pin as opposed to, 'cause my aluminum tubes I use for my boom, I always put a wooden dowel down inside of them with a hole, and then that'll fit over the pin. If I go with the track, and then usually what I do with the pin is inside the wooden plug, before I drive it in and screw it in place, I'll drill a hole through and put a pin in, so the pin can't come, a screw or something, so the pin can't come out of the end of the boom. So. But if I get the one that fits on the mast, and with the pin's long enough that by the time you get the tack here into the gooseneck and the out-haul tightened out, then it's going to be jamming the boom into the gooseneck, so I don't have to worry about it coming loose that way either. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that's probably, you know, I don't think I've had enough time for a full sequence to edit yet, but I'll show you the sail when it comes in as the tail end of this part, and then we'll flip it over, and I got some work to do on the bottom. Well, I've got the bow pulled up to the my pipe supports. Get up on the side. Over. And I need to put the padding down on the end. Let me go ahead and do that off camera, but got it flipped anyway. You see a little bit of chipping along in here. It's just the paint. There's hardly any damage. There's no cuts on in the fiberglass itself, but down in here, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me zoom in. Yeah, there you can see it. As you can see a little bit of the weave coming through the paint. I didn't get enough weave fill on this, and this was an early boat in my building stages, so I didn't really know about getting all the weave filled until you painted it and it's too late. Back here on one of the flat side panels, there's a little bit of, you can see the glass in there too. One of the things I did later on, as I got more experience, was I would add pigment paste. I tried to mix up a little bit, put some white pigment paste in the epoxy, the clear, the regular straight epoxy, and then put in just a hair of black to turn it a light gray. And I found that after the initial wet out coat, you don't want to do anything, add anything to the epoxy then, because you want to see that the glass goes clear and everything underneath of it comes up through. You can see through the glass. But once that's done, you don't have any voids or anything. Then start putting in a little bit of pigment paste. That'll get rid of the clearness, and then you can start seeing where your bad spots are. And you want to take care of them after, once you know where they're at, because the pigment paste will show you where they're at, and then you can go ahead and fix them, and then you don't have anything to do after you put on the primer and the finish coat. I was discovering that early on that my errors would show up as I was putting on the first coat of paint. So older to wiser. Well, older anyway. Well, I've got the hull washed down with soap and water. So I'll let this thing dry tonight, and we'll come back and start sanding it down on the next episode of Red Barn Boats. Till then.